UFC Fight Night OKC just went down. This was a 10 out of 10 card, completely stacked top to bottom. The performances were incredible. This is my reaction to all of the fights, starting with the main event, working our way down. But before we get in the main event, there is one fight I want to cover very first, and that is the fight of the night, in my opinion, Tommy McMillan versus Alberto Montes. This was one of the top 3 most exciting fights I have ever watched in my life. It was like Curtis Blades versus Josh Hokett 2.0. There's so much to talk about with this fight. We're going to start with the lead up. There was a lot of bad blood between these two. Montez was saying that Tommy Guns is faking his whole personality, that he's not a real gangster. And boy, he made a mistake saying that, because it pissed Tommy Guns off. Tommy Guns was not having it. He was not being friendly with him at all in the lead up, talking a ton of shit, flipping him off, wouldn't shake his hand. And that is exactly what we need in the UFC. I get that most people are respectful and they just like shake hands and hug before the fight. For us fans, though, that shit is hella boring. I love it when there's bad blood and these guys hate each other, because you really get invested, you want to watch. Tommy had to go out there and prove who the real American gangster was, and just check out the stats on this fight. Tommy threw 517 strikes in a 3-round fight. He broke the record for the most significant strikes in a 3-round fight as well. He landed 252. From the very start of the fight, Tommy had Montez going on his back foot, just pushing him down. I don't know how the hell Tommy Guns does not get tired. He's literally like Marab when it comes to cardio. His pace is insane. I was really worried he was going to gas out. How do you even throw that many strikes? 517 in 3 rounds. Go try to find a heavy bag and just throw 500 strikes on it. You're gonna gas out after like 200 max. You can even see the differential. Like Montez threw 147, 517. He threw like 400 more strikes, man. If you go off the round, you can see Tommy dominated all 3 rounds. So he would have won 3-0 on a decision if he didn't knock him out. But like 75 to 23, 97 to 26. But the craziest part is in round 3, 85 to 7, bro. Like he only landed 7 total strikes. Round 3, Tommy came out there firing, just went straight after him. The combinations are sick. The one thing I did want to bring up is I can't believe how much hate there was towards Tommy Guns. When I think of a UFC fan, I think of these cool masculine dudes like most of you guys watching this video, but there's so many people who get so angry at somebody for being so confident and like saying they're gonna win. Who's watching the UFC? Are there like little blue-haired twinks just watching the UFC out there getting all angry at someone for having confidence? Maybe you guys can help me understand and explain in the comments if you hate Tommy Gunn, why you do. You know where the hate probably comes from? It's probably all the Khabib lovers who just think you should just hold the guy down and just hump him on the ground. I don't know. Tommy Guns is one of my favorite fighters. I've known about Tommy for a long time. I'm a huge fan of Sugar Sean and Tim Welch, and so they've always been talking about him. It's so great to see him come in the UFC to fight a guy who's very dangerous. He was undefeated, an incredible jiu-jitsu guy, wasn't able to land a single takedown. He just stood and banged with him, put on a great fight for the fans. I don't know how this didn't win fight of the night. At least Tommy got a bonus for it, but in my opinion, this fight was way more exciting to watch than the DDP versus Usman one. The fight was incredible. The memes were hilarious. It's Emo Malley versus the Make-A-Wish version of Ilya Taporia. This was the best fight on the entire card. Now we can go back up to the main event, which was also incredible. We have DDP taking on Kamaru Usman. I knew DDP would win, and for some reason, a lot of my friends were like, no, man, Usman's gonna win. He's too good. DDP has like 40 pounds on him, bro. DDP is huge. I don't know how he even fights at 185. I think he's more built like a 205 who just cuts an insane amount of weight. Usman absolutely took belt to ass from DDP. I think that I'd probably would have scored it 49-46, but even the ref who gave it 50-45 for DDP, I would not disagree with that. DDP was in control the whole time, almost finished him like 4 or 5 different times, had him completely wobbled. The most impressive thing was the fact that Kamaru Usman was 0 for 7 on takedowns against DDP. He had the one where he kind of like took him down and DDP hopped straight up. They didn't count that as a takedown, I guess. Probably because he didn't secure it once he landed it. I rewatched this fight this morning. I took a bunch of notes. Let's start with round 1, what happened. 2 minutes in, DDP landed a super massive overhand right, which had Kamaru Usman completely wobbled. This was the first of like 5 times he got wobbled, but he could like barely stand up. His legs were falling out underneath him. DDP was very smart for not just emptying the gas tank, because Usman is tough and that could have cost him later in the fight. Looking at the strike count, and if you watch the fight, DDP clearly won round 1. I mean, 29-17 significant strike differential. With like a minute left in the first round, Usman nut shot DDP pretty hard, which is hilarious because then when DDP supposedly nut shot Usman, which he didn't, Usman was crying about it later on. So let's not forget, man, Usman did nut outshot him first. So DDP did have that big moment in round 1 where he really rocked him, easily won him the round. He landed more strikes as well. So right now it's 1-0 DDP. At the very beginning of round number 2, DDP started throwing his head kicks out of southpaw. This was his best weapon the entire fight. He landed some hard kicks on Usman's head, probably 10 to 15 of them throughout the fight. 30 seconds into the second round, DDP landed a clean knee right on Usman's face. This was the one moment in the fight where he had him the most wobbled. I think he could have gone for a finish here and he would have got it. Usman like couldn't even stand up. He was wobbled so hard. Beautiful flush knee. A minute and a half into round 2, this is when Usman went for his takedown. He shot in. DDP lands a flush knee again on his face. Still kind of took DDP down and he hopped right back up. That's why they didn't count it as a takedown. That was his closest attempt. The other ones were completely stuffed. 2 minutes to go in round 2 is when the alleged eye poke happened. It was very obvious if you were watching it. The people at the desk, us on TV, you could all see it was a clear punch. He had a closed fist. He came and punched him in the face, and his thumb did kind of hit into his eye. But that's fully legal when your thumb's closed and you're making a fist. Usman was not having it though. He starts crying. He's like, oh, eye poked me, which is fair at first because I mean he did kind of like think he got poked in the eye. Then they look up at the screen. The ref watches the replay of a clear punch. So he's like, not an eye poke, keep fighting. How do you even argue this anymore, Usman? The ref legit just watched the replay right in front of your face and saw it wasn't an eye poke. And then when he resumes the fight, DDP immediately cracks him. Usman backs off and he's throwing his hands in the air still like, bro, I got eye poked. He's just freaking out. There was a lot of complaining. We're going to get into it as well towards the end in Usman's post-fight speech where he's being a sore loser, complaining like, I don't know what the refs were watching. And he even thought he was tied or winning the fight going in the 5th. I don't know what kind of drugs Usman was on, but he was just not mentally there if he thinks he was winning that at all. But yeah, look at the significant strikes in round 2, 36 to 14. DDP absolutely dominated him again. He's up 2-0 easy. I've watched this fight twice. No one can argue it's already 2-0 DDP. Now, round number 3 was the one boring round in this fight, and the reason why is DDP was pretty tired. The first 2 rounds he landed a ton of strikes on Usman, was really just beating him up, so he was kind of catching his breath in this round. Usman was injured. He got wobbled in both rounds and almost finished, so this round a little bit more boring. DDP still outstruck him 25 to 17. Not a lot happened. DDP did have a bigger moment in this round, I feel like, and landed the bigger shots. So all the judges so far had this scored 3-0. That's how I had it scored as well. But yeah, round 3, there really wasn't that much action. Round 4 was incredibly exciting. It really brought the fight back to life. DDP landed some super hard head kicks and jabs. His strikes were definitely doing a lot more damage. Usman kept this one a little closer on the strike totals, but his strikes were doing no damage to DDP. There wasn't even 1 second in this entire fight where you're thinking, oh no, DDP's in trouble. But on the other hand, Usman got wobbled in almost every single round and almost finished. This was another clear win for DDP on this round if you go off of damage, who was pushing forward. And off the judges' scorecard, every single judge had it 4-0 for DDP, including myself. I mean, round 3, if you really wanted to and you're an Usman fan, you could argue that round was more towards him. But look at the strike totals, like 25 to 17. Usman didn't hurt him at all. So it's really hard to say like, oh, Usman got robbed that round. All right, round number 5, there was a hilarious moment. It showed Usman in his corner and all of his coaches were like, okay, you got to go out there and get a finish. And Usman's like, really? He deadass thought that it was 2-2 or that he was winning somehow. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. He must have just been like totally lost in this fight. He almost got finished in 3 of the 4 rounds, and the 1 round he didn't get finished in, and the 1 round he almost didn't get finished in, he still got outstruck badly. So yeah, the delusion on Usman is absolutely hilarious. For some reason, he didn't think he was down when he was down 4-0. Usman did come out and have a very good round 5. This was the only round he did win, and if you look at the judges' scorecards, 2 of them gave him round 5. But even this round with him winning, you look at the strikes, he landed 1 more significant strike. And if you look at the percentages, DDP landed 50% of his strikes, Usman landed 35%, so DDP was still more efficient. He had a good round. In the last like 30 seconds, that's when Usman did win this round. He started going after him crazy. He had some big shots, but it was still never one moment in this entire fight where I was worried about DDP, where anyone even thought that Usman had a chance. The fight was incredible. I'm a huge DDP fan, and I really think they should give him the title shot against Sean Strickland. It'd be a super fun fight. Nobody wants to see Imavov fight. He's genuinely the most boring fighter on the entire UFC roster. At least with like Bilal Muhammad, he's easy to hate on and he's annoying, or like he has a personality. Imavov is just completely irrelevant. He's a boring fighter. Nobody wants him as a champion. He doesn't talk shit on anyone. He doesn't have a big fan base. If he ends up getting the title shot, I mean, it is deserved. I'm not going to complain. I'll watch the fight. But don't you think a DDP Sean Strickland buildup would be so much better? Last time DDP was making him cry talking about his dad. DDP is one of the best trash talkers in the UFC. He made Izzy cry. He made Sean Strickland cry. He's a great villain. He's super fun to watch. Like, DDP is one of the most awkward strikers ever. And I used to love the memes of like, DDP is going to win by falling piano from the sky, or just finds the weirdest ways to win. He's big. He's awkward. He's fun to watch. I'm super excited to see what's next for him. I hope it's a title shot. If not a title shot, you could maybe do him versus Hamzat again, but I don't want to see that, and I don't think anyone wants to see that fight again. All right, last thoughts on this main event. It was incredible. This could have been a pay-per-view main event. Both these guys are former champions, huge names. They both have incredible records as well, so I was very happy with this fight. I thought it was very fun to watch. I'm glad DDP won. Let's go into the next fight. Up next, we got Jared Cannonier versus CLD, Christian Leroy Duncan. He's a 350 favorite for a reason. I had him winning. Every breakdown I've seen online had him winning, and it was just a super dominant performance overall. I like Jared Cannonier. I think he's an incredibly fun fighter to watch. He's 42 years old, so the fact that he's still in great shape, he's going out there putting on wars for us to enjoy, that's super cool, but there's just levels to it. Christian Leroy Duncan is 12 years younger. He was way taller too. I think he had a 5-inch reach, 5-inch height advantage. You could tell he was just way bigger, way younger, more physical. If you take a look at the strikes, 94 to 36. There's also 68 significant strikes versus 15 significant strikes the entire fight. That's all Cannonier could land. When this fight was in the open, CLD was picking him off. Cannonier's game plan was to just try to hold him up against the fence and avoid damage, which is what he should have done to try to survive in there. It says he has 5 takedowns here out of 8 attempts. It was just kind of boring a lot of the time and a lot of stalling. When they did separate, CLD was obviously beating him up. First round, 37 strikes to 5, man. Like, very dominant first round. It was very obvious who was going to win when you watched that. I'm surprised that Cannonier didn't get finished. He's incredibly tough. Round number 2, Cannonier did have a better round. I mean, 16 to 10 on significant strikes. It was much closer. He still lost that round. And then in the final round, 25 significant strikes versus 3. This was the most dominant round of the fight. It really secured him the win. Cannonier had 3 takedowns this round. He had control time, but he really just didn't do anything with it, and it was just kind of boring. I would say this wasn't the most fun fight I've ever watched. It's fun because they're big and powerful, so you're still on the edge of your seat thinking like either one of these guys could get KO'd at any second, but overall solid, but nothing crazy. Up next, we have the legend Chase Hooper, the gooner himself. I was not familiar with Mitch Ramirez at all going into this fight. You'd figure he's probably pretty tough if he's in the UFC, but Chase Hooper's like a 4-1 favorite. Does anyone else feel like whenever they see Chase Hooper, they just think there's no chance this guy's gonna win? Like, there's a lot of memes online, everyone calls him a twink, and he literally looks like he's some like skinny little twink. And I'm not trying to be mean, I love Chase Hooper, I'm a big fan. But I feel like going into this fight, Chase Hooper looked incredibly nervous on the walkout. He lost 2 fights in a row before. He got knocked out pretty hard, so it was really a must-win moment for Chase Hooper. I think if he would have lost this one, he could have even given up on fighting, and he even said that himself. Luckily, that is not how this fight went at all. Chase Hooper absolutely dominated this guy. Start of the fight, Chase Hooper immediately takes him down and had his back in under a minute. It was like 58 seconds in the first round. He already had a body triangle locked up on his back. He ended up getting the finish in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And you guys may have guessed it, the reason that he ended up getting the submission and winning this fight is he stopped gooning all of training camp, so he had a better forearm grip, his wrists weren't sore, he was able to lock up a choke and get a finish. His post-fight interview was absolutely hilarious. He said to stop listening to CIA propaganda and you need to quit gooning. Chase Hooper is very funny, he's very entertaining, he has a huge following, and he's one of the fan favorites. It's nice having guys like this in the UFC where you really look forward to watching him fight. And he finally went back to what he's good at, and that's his jiu-jitsu. He tried striking too much in his last 2 fights, and that's why he lost. He was trying to feel too confident in the striking. This fight, he went back to his bread and butter. He took him down, went for the submission. He has incredible jiu-jitsu. He needs to stick to using it as much as he can. Chase Hooper only took 1 significant strike from this guy. Absolutely 0 damage. Finished the fight immediately. So I think we should see him back in like 4 or 5 months max. I hope he makes a quick turnaround and he books another fight before the end of this year. But yeah, with such a quick fight, that's basically all that happened. Immediate submission, immediate takedown, domination. Ramirez, he said that he had a bad knee injury after, like he injured it during the fight, which He got taken down and submitted right away, so I don't really know when that would have happened, and I don't think that really affected the outcome of this fight very much. But shout out Chase Hooper, great win, funny post-fight interview, and that was great. All right, on to the female fight. We had Ricci versus Kline. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't see one thing that happened in this fight because I was just completely distracted by Ricci's gyat. I do love when they do these UFC fights with female fighters when they are attractive, because at least you can just like get distracted. Nah, I'm totally playing. I watched the fight. Ricci did look very attractive in there, I will say. No offense to Kline, but she kind of looks like the dude off Star Wars, and she's pretty jacked. She had like a weird, like the side of her head was shaved, and she had a weird hairstyle. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like one of those Ewoks on Star Wars. I don't feel like this is too hot of a take, but to some people it's a hot take. I don't think that female fights should ever be on a main card. It is a fight night, so I didn't care that much, but even like the next pay-per-view coming up, there's 2 female fights, and that's the most boring shit of all time. It's like the WNBA. It's like watching paint dry on a wall. Nobody cares. This isn't the greatest example because Kline did put on a great performance. She's an incredible female fighter. I really hope she gets a title shot soon, and she's probably like 1 or 2 wins away from getting that title shot. She absolutely dominated this fight. 86 strikes to 26. The biggest thing in this fight was that Kline was so much bigger than Ricci. Like, she is absolutely tiny. I don't know what the height advantage was, but she was just so much bigger, just mauled her. She had no chance at all. The third round had the only fun moment of the entire fight, where Kline picked up Ricci and just absolutely slammed her, WWE style. Everyone gets super excited, and then it immediately goes back to just being the most boring shit I've ever watched. Especially, you just get done watching Tommy McMillan versus Montez fight, one of the greatest fights of all time, incredibly entertaining, and then you have to go into a female fight. Like, it's not fair to them. They tried their hardest. Kline got a great win. She's a great fighter, but it's just my opinion. I don't give a single fuck about a single UFC chick fighter. Kayla Harrison's maybe the only one I like watching because, let's be real, that's a man, that's not a woman. No, it's not offensive to her. Kayla Harrison's great. I'm actually a huge fan. She's my favorite female UFC fighter of all time, so it's just a joke, but genuinely, she makes me insecure because she's so jacked. There was some great fights on the prelims as well, some great finishes. I did want to talk about the Ezra Elliott, Damien Anderson fight quick before we wrap up this video. Ezra Elliott came in as an underdog in this fight. I've known about Ezra for a long time. Tim Welch has always talked about how incredible he is with his wrestling and his ground game, and Damien Anderson is a world-class jiu-jitsu guy, one of the best jiu-jitsu fighters on the UFC roster. They both took this fight on 4 days notice, so you can't expect too crazy of a war when they really didn't have a training camp. They had to just cut a bunch of weight. You were curious how their cardio was going to be. Now, disclaimer, I will be honest, if I wasn't an Ezra Elliott fan, I would absolutely be trashing him for this fight. It was completely boring. He didn't throw any strikes, dude. He just took him down the entire fight. When it comes to this matchup, it was a risky fight for Ezra to take, but Ezra took him down all 3 rounds, completely dominated him. He broke the record for the most takedowns in a featherweight fight. He landed 12 of them, which is awesome. Now, I really wish Ezra would have went for more ground and pound because he did go for submissions. He took him down easy. He controlled him. So if you're a diehard fan, it is still fun to watch. A lot of the casuals really were booing and hated this one. I thought it was impressive. There was some spots where it's like, okay, you're not getting a submission. You have him held down. You're mounting him. You have his back. There's 30 seconds left in the round. Start going for some ground and pound. Throw some elbows, tee off a little bit, and try to do some damage. Like, he literally did almost 0 damage this entire fight. Like, round 1, he landed 4 total strikes. In round 2, he landed 5 strikes. He only threw 5 strikes in round 2. So I'm not lying when I said there was 0 ground and pound at all. Submission attempts, 3 submission attempts in both of these rounds. So he did get a lot of takedowns. He was going for submissions. It was still entertaining to watch of how impressive it is to control somebody who's so good at jiu-jitsu. Even in round 3, like you see here, he landed 12 strikes this round. 0 significant strikes. Like, if you're a fight fan and you like violence, this fight was incredibly boring, but shout out to Ezra, man. Taking this on a 4 days notice. I know he missed weight by 1 pound, but it wasn't really his fault at all. He had no camp, no time to cut, no time to prep. I'm excited for his next fight as well as Tommy Gunn's. He will have Tim Welch back in his corner as well as probably Sugar Sean. So that's always fun too to see them there. This was an incredible card. Overall, I would rate it 10 out of 10 for a fight night. Let's just look at one thing real quick. So look at this fight night, right? DDP Usman, Cannonier versus CLD, Chase Hooper's on here, Tommy Guns. Let's go ahead and pull up the next pay-per-view for the UFC and just show you how ass this is. Mind you, the last one was a fight night, okay? This is the next numbered event. Islam versus Ian Gary is an absolute massive fight. I'm so excited. Islam being a 4-1 favorite almost is crazy. I really think Ian Gary's gonna win. Maybe it's a dumb take, but I think Ian Gary's the worst possible matchup for Islam. Ian Gary's beat like 5 of the best guys in the entire world. He's tall, he's rangy, he's smart, he's way bigger than Islam. This may not age well, but I think Gary's gonna destroy him here. That's not the problem. That's a good main event. Then you look after that, like, we have a female title fight. Never put a fucking female fight on a main card, bro. Nobody wants to watch this shit, especially for 5 rounds. They should put it on the early prelims, bro. Like, genuinely, there's 2 chick fights on this too. Like, this isn't bad enough. We gotta add another female fight on the card. I'm telling you right now, this is gonna be the most boring fight of all time. Neither of them have any power. It's just gonna be this boring ass hug fight. 2 different piss breaks, and then in between, yo, usually they put something exciting, right? Jeremiah Wells versus Oral. Like, bro, I don't know how you even build a card this shit. It doesn't make any sense, man. Like, you look at the top 5 here. It opens up with Jalen Turner, just 2 unranked opponents, you know, like 15-9 versus 11-2. I don't know. I don't think any of these fights are going to be that great except for the main event. Like, I'm not excited for either of these 4 fights. The UFC, what the fuck are you doing, man? These fight nights are way more stacked than this numbered event. Enough of me bitching about this. I'll probably make a whole nother video bitching about this and giving my predictions here soon when we get closer to the fight. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know how you guys thought the OKC fight night went. I loved it. I thought it was incredible. What was your favorite fight? Do you like Tommy Guns? Do you hate him? I'm excited to see what you guys say. This is my first YouTube video on my new channel, so if you watched this far, I love you so much. I really appreciate the support. New videos coming every single week. We'll catch you later. Until next time.